Today I'm going to talk about something that I think a lot of people are struggling with, and I definitely do as well. But I've got to keep these things in mind. So, have you been really struggling with all the changes that's been going on in this world lately, or in your job, or in your life? Maybe you're getting older and you're not liking the changes that are happening. Or do you long for the old days when things used to be the way they used to be, the good old days? One thing I think where a lot of people start getting off track is that you just can't control change. You can't control the way the world is going. And if you read the Bible, the more you read the Bible, the more you're going to realize that you're not in control. And once you release the control to God, things will be different, at least in your mind. Now, God has a plan for you, and we just don't know what that plan is going to be. So just keep that in mind when things that are changing in your life that happen that you cannot do anything about. You can try your darndest to fight change. And let me give you a good example of what's going on with me and in my life. Well, besides the fact that I'm getting older and I'm not liking how my body is not the way it used to be. I used to be really physically fit, and I feel like, now that I'm 63, I'm fighting the aging process. Of course, my hair is a dead giveaway. I'm turning more gray, and I just refuse to color my hair, even though I'm in the hair business, because I've tried that in the past, and it just wants to turn orange. It doesn't matter who does it or what color is used. It's just the way my hair is. And so, and also my skin is starting to get more wrinkly, and I'm getting sunspots, even though I don't spend a lot of time in the sun. I guess I do, but I'm not a sun worshiper. I don't lay out in the sun to get tan, as you can tell. But I'm probably exposed to enough sun throughout my day. And also, I don't use a lot of sunscreen, which I should, but we do have the screened-in porch over our swim spa, and that seems to protect us. Plus, we have an umbrella. But you're still getting more light, I guess. So I've got to be more aware of those things. But back to the other changes. There's changes going on in this world, with definitely a lot of things happen politically with our government and the way the world is doing, the way people are changing the way they think. And a lot of it just seems like it's just unbelievable. And I believe we're in a time of good change, even though some of it is going to be a little painful. It's going to cost us, with all of these different changes in the way America is making its transformation. And that's not even the biggest change I'm talking about, but we have to just let it go, and I think the key thing is how we adapt to change. Change is going to happen whether we fight it or not. It's just going to happen. And like, for instance, with my work, I've been selling beauty supplies to salons for over 30 years now. I started back in 1994, and it was a totally different world back then. I had no clue as to how it used to be, but I remember sales reps back then that were before me or that started before me. They were telling me how things used to be, the good old days, even before I came along. And now I'm saying the same thing. things used to be even better than they are now. You know, and as good as technology is, it's also hurt us. So the frustrating thing for me in my business right now is that, and for my customers, and I know if you're one of my customers watching this, you totally agree and understand what I'm about to say, is that it used to be where beauty supplies used to be sold exclusively in salons. I mean, professional beauty supplies. And your hairdresser would recommend a product or service, and you had to get it from them. It wasn't like they were gouging you or anything, but now a lot of the great professional brands are introduced by stylists, and then these companies end up either selling them directly on their own website or on Amazon or other sites. And the same thing has happened to me and on my side of things, is that, you know, where distributors used to have exclusive distribution rights for a particular territory, and so you would have exclusivity. And again, it wasn't like we were gouging our customers. You know, we promoted brands in the hope of building a business, and then, you know, as you grew it, you would make more and more money and become more successful. Well, what's happened is, same thing is happening to our business as it is happening to the retail side. We are now struggling with our own manufacturers selling against us. So, whereas it used to be where, you know, a manufacturer went to us and we had exclusive rights, so now they're giving it to other distributors to sell against us, or because our company does not have stores, they are putting it in with another distributor that has store locations, keeping us in the field and just selling their retail products in those stores. And their whole idea, and this is what they've told us, is that it's supposed to help us get more customers, like customers that we wouldn't ordinarily be able to reach. And that's not really how it's turning out to be. Because the hair business has changed so much, I had to pause there because a guy that just passed me, he was running off the road heading my way. So I'm like, I hope he's watching. But forget what my train of thought was now. Jeez. This is the other thing I don't like, forgetting things. So I was talking about how these manufacturers are selling against us. So now we have these independent booth renters or independent studios that are smaller, and because of the stores are so convenient and they're everywhere in the major cities, stylists would rather go in and purchase these things from the stores rather than utilize a sales rep, which, you know, I get it. You know, we're charging $12.99 freight to ship it to them. But, you know, smart hairdressers don't bother messing with the stores because they realize that it's time away from the salon making money. And if they're not making more than $12.99, then yeah, maybe it's better to go to the store. But most hairdressers make more than $12.99 an hour, and it's going to take you a good hour just to go to the store to get their products. First, you gotta find them, and then you gotta get them, check out, and then get back to the salon. And I do have some people that justify doing that because, oh, they were out and about on their day off and they were doing it. Well, you know, that's your day off. You want to spend it in a store buying beauty supplies every week or every month? It's just smarter. Like the bigger salons, the reason why they we usually don't have any problems with those people going to stores, is because it's not worth their time. They realize that time is money, and time that even if they send one of their employees to go get the stuff, is time away from them being in the salon. So it just doesn't make any sense. Plus, you got to understand, for hairdressers should value having a consultant that actually represents the brands and actually consults with them to make sure that they're buying the right products. It's, we have lots of knowledge that we can provide them with all the years of experience that we have, at least some of our reps. And you got to ask yourself, are they not even worth $13? That's just another aspect of it. So these are the big challenges that we're having. And all the while they're selling against us, they are wanting us to increase our numbers. So we're having all these factors against us, plus the fact that the economy is quite a bit different since after COVID. So we have people that are not buying as many products. And I think it's a combination of things. Just the economy, was down for a long time, for the last 4 years. And then also the fact that a lot of customers are buying their products right online. And the stories that I hear is that customers are, sitting in their client's chair or the stylist's chair, and the stylist just got done telling them about what they need for their hair. And you know what they do? They sit in their chair and they go on Amazon and they look for it. They look it up and they order it right there in front of them. Talking about a slap in the face to the stylist. And people just don't realize, or if they do, shame on them for not buying it from their stylist, but generally the prices are about the same. And the stylist you need to buy it from the stylist because you're actually supporting them and it's helping keep costs down. And I just made another video about the same subject, but if you don't watch it, if you don't buy from salons and stylists, your cost of hair color, your cost of services and everything from your stylist is going to go up. So, but these are the changes that are affecting us in our industry. And you know what? It really upset me, and it upsets all of our reps. But after reading the Bible, you just gotta listen to God, and God understands your needs. He already knows everything that's going to happen. He already knows what you need, and as long as you have faith and just give it to God, He will provide. Now, will these changes still happen? Yeah. I don't think they're going to go away. Just like things that happened 30, 40, 50 years ago, those days are long gone. Things are never going to be the same because it's just the natural evolution of things. So you just got to realize nothing's going to ever be the same again. And as long as you accept that, and if you know how to adapt to change, then you will be fine. And the one thing I've learned also, whenever there's drastic change, and it could be a negative for that change, guess what? There's always a positive. There's always something positive that comes out of it. And so, no matter how the economy is, how bad the economy can get, if we're in a recession, guess what? Those are the times where millionaires are made. Those investors know that they can make money in a downturn. They can make money when it's good. They can make money when it's bad. It's just how you adapt to it. And so if you want a good example of how that is done, just watch any of these millionaires, these people that get rich, that have booming businesses. Their businesses are booming whether the economies are good or bad. Just like if you follow some of these real estate investors. Grant Cardone, he's one that a lot of people have heard of. He's a big proponent of that. Opportunity is made in times of strife. Opportunities are made in booming times. It doesn't matter, just how you adapt to it. So, as far as personal life goes, things aren't never going to be the same as far as your health. Just hopefully you're taking care of your health as best as you can, which is one of the reasons why, even though I'm not in the gym today, I decided I'm going to do this walk and talk. Now, it's going to get tougher to do these when the heat is really bad, and I started a little late, but the video is so much better and the color is better when the sun's out, and it's not really uncomfortable. I'm not even breaking a sweat hardly. So today is not a bad day for a walk. But I know in the heat of the summer, these walk and talks are going to be really tough to do. So I'll do them for as long as I can, and then probably in the fall I'll do some more of them. But let me ask you this. Are you reading your Bible, or have you read the Bible? And if you haven't, why not? I don't know if you've heard my story, but I started reading the Bible about 1.5 years ago. It was actually, January 2024, I started reading the Bible. And I've already read through it, through the Old Testament twice, and I'm on the New Testament twice, and I'm on the third time reading the New Testament. But now I'm also, somebody introduced me to Pastor Gary Hamrick of Cornerstone Chapel in Leesburg, Virginia. And even though I don't belong to a local church, which I should, but I just haven't found one that I really identify with. I thought the church of 1122 was going to be good, but it's so crowded, and I don't know if the local one that they're building here near where I live, if they're going to have a pastor that's going to be actually teaching there. If they do, we may end up joining that one. But I don't like the idea of attending church when the main pastor is going to be at one location and they broadcast it on big TV screens at the satellite chapels. Not my idea of a way to be in a church. So, I do the next best thing. I have this online app, the Cornerstone Chapel app, and I actually follow along with Pastor Gary Hamrick's teaching, and I go into the archives, and you can start from the very beginning, from Genesis, and he teaches all the way through. It's a Bible teaching church, so they teach from the very beginning all the way to the end. They basically cover a chapter a week, which, in their terms, they're doing it weekly, but because it's archived, and it usually takes them about 10 years to get through the entire Bible. But when you take it daily and you watch them, you're actually, really speeding up the time that you can go through the Bible. And his sermons are usually about, not sermons, I would say teaching. They last about 35 to 40 minutes. And it seems like every time he preaches, the subject that he's teaching about applies to what's going on in my life today. Like today's sermon was in Luke chapter 9, I believe. And so we're in the New Testament now. And it was part of a broader teaching. But the one thing that the very last part of it was actually teaching about the more you give, the more you get. And he wasn't really preaching about, okay, you need to tithe with the church. He wasn't saying that, but he said, you got to stay humble, and the more humble you are, the better off you'll be in life. And it's all about gaining wisdom, and wisdom is the application of knowledge. So knowledge, you can have all the knowledge you want, but it's not going to get you anywhere if you don't apply it using God-given wisdom. And God gives you that. So you can go to all the college classes or you can get all the degrees you want. That doesn't make you wise. It just makes you knowledgeable. And just like there's so much information online now to do this or that, or just like these YouTube videos. And my whole goal now is to teach people that are over 40 to help them get started making YouTube videos and help them grow their channel. But listen, if you just watch these videos and you don't take action, if you don't do the work, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're just gaining a lot of knowledge, and that knowledge will disappear because you didn't actually put it in action. You didn't use it. And so I watch a lot of videos, and a lot of it I can't put it into action because I'm driving or I'm watching while I'm working or working out. But I try to take pieces of what I learn and put them into action. And I've done that with my YouTube channel. So, and I also invested in a course program. Sometimes you just gotta invest in yourself. And it's important that you understand, if you don't invest in yourself, then you're definitely shorting yourself big time. And the biggest investment you can make is in yourself, not in anything else. So I would work on building yourself up. And if you're a younger person watching this, heed these words of wisdom from years of mistakes and some successes, but you have to make mistakes. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. You have to do these things in order to learn. So just like hairdressers, some of them that start out, they're afraid to do hair color or do a perm or just do something, or maybe cut somebody's hair because they're afraid of making a mistake. Well, you're going to make mistakes. That's inevitable. I mean, if you want to learn, all the best hairdressers made mistakes. I don't care if you're born with a gift. I guarantee you, the best hairdressers screwed somebody's hair up at one point. You know what? They more than likely they probably only did it one time, because that's enough to make you think, hey, what did I do wrong and how can I avoid making that same mistake next time? And as I get older, I've realized I didn't take enough risks. I didn't make enough mistakes because I was afraid to make a mistake. And so that's my biggest thing, my biggest advice to anybody watching this right now. Don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of trying new things. Trying things even though it may be painful. Maybe you're afraid that something bad's going to happen. I'm not saying foolishly go and make mistakes. I'm saying take calculated risks, check it out fully, but don't overanalyze it. Overanalyzing can lead to doing nothing. And that's, I'm speaking from experience. I did a lot of inactivity over my lifetime because I was afraid to pull the trigger because I didn't feel like I knew enough. The people that do the best in life are the ones that don't worry about trying to learn it all in the very beginning. They just pull the trigger and they do the thing. And they make mistakes and they screw up, and guess what? They don't stop and they don't give up. They just keep going and do it. Do it again. Try it again. One of my videos that I just posted, that I'm going to post today, because I'm going to post this one another day, I was talking about my experience as a young ball player. I was playing baseball. It was minor league. I mean, not minor. That was the little league. And I was not a great ball player. I wasn't a great athlete. I was small for my age, so I was still small on this team, even though I was like a couple years older than some of the people, or some of the kids. But this game that we had, it was like the championship game, and we were playing against the Reds, and we were the Indians, and the Reds had this huge kid, and he was an amazing hitter, amazing player, and we didn't think we were going to be able to beat them. At least we were all nervous. So I mean, this team was so good that I don't even know if we had the faith that we would win it. But the coach, got us excited, motivated us, and we got out there, and this was the last inning. It was 2 outs. We were down quite a few runs, and one of the worst players on the team was up to bat, and that was me. So I get up there and I struck twice. I had like 2 or 3 balls, and this was the last chance. It was the last pitch. If I missed this one, I would be struck out. The game would be over. Well, they always say, if you don't take a chance, you won't get. And so I took a wild swing. This ball was thrown way high, far off away from me. And I did what they say never to do. Don't reach out and try to hit a wild swing for a ball that was very unhittable. Well, I did just that. And the end of my bat, the ball hit the sweet spot of the bat. And that ball went sailing. I didn't hit a home run, but I hit it right in the outfield and right in the middle where nobody can catch it. And we had some other players on base, and I think I got a run out of that, but I was on second or third base, and that changed the tone of the game. Everything changed from there. So what ended up happening is I got guys on base, and then all the other people after me started hitting. Everybody got a hit and they got runs, and wouldn't you know it, we ended up beating them by several runs, and we won the game. And it was the best feeling in the world, because I felt like, I don't know if God was with me at that point, but I wasn't very religious at the time. Even though I believed in God, I didn't have that kind of faith. But what ended up happening is, it's just like when you watch the World Series or the Super Bowl, and that feeling, that euphoria that came among all those players. That's how it felt. And that was the last game I ever played in any childhood sports. So that was the end of it. I quit on a high, because I felt like, I don't think it's ever going to happen to me again, based on the fact that I was a terrible player. So it never fails to, you should always keep trying. And sometimes you just got to swing at those crazy balls that you just never know when they might make a home run for you. And so my final message is to make sure you just swing. Just swing out, get out there and just take chances, and don't worry about all this change, just adapt to it. Hey, let me know in the comments below if you're struggling with change and what that change is. And if you found this helpful, just let me know. Or if you have any other questions, please put those in the comments below. And if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and make sure you click the bell to make sure you get notified when I upload another video. And I appreciate you watching this far. This is probably one of my longer ones, but I'm going to cut it off now, and I want to wish you a happy and blessed day. And again, I thank you for watching. Take care.